Hey, fight fans, welcome back to Carl Prusa MMA out here, Biloxi, Mississippi, getting ready for Gamebred Bareknuckle 8 going down on Friday. I'm with the CEO, the matchmaker, one of the bosses around these parts. He is Mr. Dean Toole, once again on the channel. Dean, man, you outdid yourself on this one, my friend. I really think this could be the best show to date. I mean, I say that every single time we meet, but stacked, absolutely stacked. Over 12 UFC vets on this card. Overall, what are your thoughts on this finished product?
I think it's the best fight card we've ever put together. Multiple fight of the night winners. We matched this card specifically for that purpose. We think that it's going to be like a 90% finish ratio for this event. Maybe one or two of the fights could go to a decision, but I think they're all evenly matched. I don't know who's going to win any of them, and I think that's what makes for a great card and great matchmaking.
We're seeing some newcomers to the show. Obviously, Charles Rosa, Maurice Green, Slippery Pete, a bunch more. But what goes into the decision process of acquiring new talent?
This show we owed a lot of people fights. There was a lot of people that we had been in constant contact with, and because of the boxing match, we kind of kept moving our dates. So we owed a lot of people fights. We were coming to Biloxi, so it also makes it super easy that there's so many UFC veterans that are around this area that love to fight and come to fight. So that's kind of how this card came about. But we definitely wanted to build the card around the first ever bantamweight world title.
This area of Mississippi is known for bare knuckle fighting, and the first bare knuckle fighting occurred here. You mentioned it, but we have Tyler Hill on the card. We have Mike Sanford on the card, Chase Sherman, Jason Knight, Brandon Davis in that main event spot. What is the reaction like from the Mississippi people whenever you have the hometown favorites fighting?
Oh, it's absolutely insane, and they're real fight fans here. So, like, if it's getting a little boring, they'll tell the ref. They're not afraid to tell them to stand it up. They're actually very knowledgeable fight fans, and it's really just a great fight community overall. Even from boxing, bare knuckle MMA, and MMA in general. Super knowledgeable fans, and some of the best fans we ever had. That's why we keep coming back.
Another newcomer, Guto Insante, making his debut. Supposed to be in the Orlando one. Things didn't work out for that one. He's in the building. He's here. He's done the media stuff. He is ready to go. Do you think this guy could come in here and become a face of this organization relatively quickly?
For sure. I mean, he has this like aura around him. I don't know if you've met him yet in person, but he is a monster of a human being. Yeah, former Glory Kickboxing World Champion. He's got a 10-6 pro MMA record with a kickboxing background, which is insane. And his opponent 17-6 in MMA, but also a two-time national champion kickboxer from Brazil. Like it's the greatest matchup you could ever even put together, and it's surprising a lot of people aren't talking about it. But I think after Friday night, a lot of people are going to talk about whoever wins that fight, and that's what we think. Obviously Chase Sherman is super deserving of a title fight. He's our boy. Everybody loves Chase. He comes to fight. He always won every fight he's ever had with us by knockout. But we feel like if Guto or Marcos Brigagao comes and puts on a really good performance, then we'll see what happens that night, or maybe we do have a number one contender spot in Orlando or one of our next shows, and see who's going to fight Junior Dos Santos for the heavyweight world championship.
A fight that really nobody's talking about is Tyler Hill versus Javanis Ross. I mean, if anyone knows anything about fighting, the way that these guys fight, I mean, it's all action. It has all the makings of either a 3 round dog fight or someone going absolutely unconscious relatively quickly.
Yeah, it's Javanis Ross used to fight at 145 pounds, and Javanis Ross twice, um, in two of his fights, he fought for us on UFC Fight Pass for Island Fights. Two of his fights, he was in the top 20 KOs of the entire year out of 388 events. So he was on the receiving end of one, and he gave one of the most beautiful flying knee knockouts I've ever seen. So that guy comes to fight. Every fight he's in is a finish. I don't think he's ever been to a decision in his entire career. I think that's a very slept on fight on the card. Tyler Hill, obviously they call him the zombie for a reason. He comes straight forward. Um, and he loves to fight. So we love having Tyler on the cards, love having Javonis back. And I think that's going to be a great start of the night for sure.
A fight that is not really being slept on, and I've been saying in every single interview, I think this is going to be fight of the promotion, fight of the night, fight of the year. Weems and Jason Knight. Obviously, these two kind of matched themselves up with each other. Does this one just get you really excited knowing we're only a couple days out?
Well, Jason wrote me first. So the story was a little backwards, but yeah, he wrote me first, and then he reached out to Weems. We loved the idea of the fight. We just didn't have an exact date yet because of obviously the boxing match, so that kind of pushed things. So we never could concrete that down or like formalize it. So I think they kind of formalize it themselves.
You obviously put in a lot of hard work when you're matchmaking, hours and hours. I don't think you sleep to be able to do all this. When you're watching the fights, when it comes down to fight night, do you ever get nervous for a couple of them? Do you have expectations of these performing? Do you feel any nerves?
I don't, because it's not really, it's like we're not out there fighting. It's the two people in the cage or the ring that are fighting, so it's on them. All we can do is put them together. Whoever wins is on them. Whoever puts on a fight of the night is on them. Whoever puts on a good performance is on them. It's not anybody else but the two people fighting. But there's so many times we think a fight's gonna be the greatest fight on earth, and it could be a complete dud. And then there's times where we think this fight might be a dud that ends up being the greatest fight on earth. So it's fighting, man. You can never really predict anything, but I feel like we can predict that this will be the greatest fight card we've ever had. Just strategically, the way this fight was matched, like this is the best show we've ever put together.
So, in addition to pro MMA athletes on this card, we have a celebrity. We have an Italian celebrity in Alessio Segarra, the host of Italy's Got Talent, I guess. You mentioned to me before there could be potential talks about fighting in Italy in the future. Is this a guy that could mean really big things for this company?
Yeah, for sure. He actually signed a multi-fight deal with us, so he'll be around for a while. And not to sleep on his opponent. Prince McLean is a Dutch kickboxer, lives in Finland. He's got great striking. He actually gave Alex Nicholson a little bit of problems in the beginning of their fight. And Alessio Sakara's got some of the best boxing, some of the best striking from the UFC period. And we do plan on going to Italy, and I think he's going to be a big part of that. So regardless of if he wins on Friday night, we think he'll be a great addition to that card, and he's going to help us do that.
You've done 8 shows now, and really not that many shows, but we're seeing so many great athletes. We're seeing so many big former UFC names. After every single show, are you just getting more and more free agents reaching out to try to be part of this?
Yeah, I mean, so many people reach out. Um, we just need more dates. I feel like we could. It's a supply and demand thing. So I want to be able to everyone that reaches out. We can't get back to every single person, but once we have more and more dates, like you're gonna be very surprised how many people are on this roster from the UFC, etc. Island Fights also started doing pro shows again. Icon is coming back, so those leagues themselves will also funnel those fighters straight to this organization. So it helps big time. We get to put our eyeballs on these people on Island Fights. We get to put our eyeballs on people on Icon, all the other regional promotions. There's shows here, Empire, Titan FC, Combat Night, all these different shows. And we get to look at those people, and now we have a league to send those guys to. If the UFC is not really the way they want to go, we have another option.
You take a lot of pride in allowing guys to, continue to get fights, continue to make good money, fight on big stages, and even, some of them move all the way up to the UFC.
That's the only reason we do it. Like, again, we're not. Everybody says they're like a fight promoter. We call it an opportunity provider. So we just provide opportunity for the fighters, and whoever takes the opportunity and what they do with it is on them. But the best call in the world is calling a fighter and letting them know they're either, hey, you're in the UFC, hey, you're in the PFL, hey, now we could say the same thing with Gamebred.
All right, last question, Dean. Why do fight fans need to tune in Friday?
For the greatest show on earth, this fight was only specifically made for fight fans and fight connoisseurs. So this is the fight that's gonna if you've never watched a fight before, this would make you a fight fan. And if you're a fight fan, this is exactly what you're looking for. 90% finishes. Maybe we'll have one or two decisions, but I predict at least 8 or 9 of the fights will win by knockout.
Well, that's it for us. That's everyone's favorite matchmaker, Mr. Dean Toole, and the fight doctor, Carla Prusa. Peace out, fight fans.